What's something that can't be explained? It must be experienced. Addiction. I've seen many people ask for a description and I've seen a lot of good explanations, but I don't think any words really capture it right. Agreed. I'm an alcoholic and it's hard to explain. I tell people it's like receiving a shoulder massage. Just as you get into it, the person takes their hands off. Why did they stop when it just started feeling good? You'd want the massage to continue. For me it's the same with alcohol. I can't stop at a few drinks because the euphoria it brings me keeps coming. It's like something in my head physically blocks off any knowledge of long-term consequences and all I can see is that temporary relief. It's the only thing that allows me to feel happy. I can't feel without it. It's like a warm hug that embraces me, gives me confidence and tells me everything will be alright. That feeling when your nose is clogged but then you get into the right position and your nose frees up, and then the other nostril closes. The effect of chronic pain on one's mental health. The effects of chronic pain and the lack of understanding from others. Over the years, family and friends just forget because it's gone on so long. But it's still there, sometimes worse than ever. It's exhausting. I have a tendency to just tell people that I'm tired. I don't want to explain again how I hurt and can't sleep. I'm frustrated with dealing with everything being hard to do and not being able to finish the things I start. My brain doesn't even work the way I want most of the time and it's just too much to talk about when I'd rather not even be thinking about it. Exactly. It's easier to pretend to be okay to others than to deal with it most of the time. I can't explain how not having a functioning body or mind feels other than horrible. I feel really alone even with other people around because sometimes it's just too much. I had a 13.5 liters B tumor for years. I finally got removed in November. My mill was really shocked and commented she can see a difference and realized every time she saw me I had been in pain for all those years and she didn't notice till she finally saw me not hurting anymore. Psychosis. Not a true description, but they tried to get really close with Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. As someone who has had a psychosis, I would say that they got it as close to correct as is possible with a game, without going inside the player's head, so to speak. I would be interested in trying the game in VR if they decide to release a VR version at some point. I love that they created an ode to mental health crises and that game is well done. But in my experience, the game is still very observer. It's missing the very real physicality of psychosis, a disassociation of reality while existing, almost floating, in your body. It's unable to capture the feeling of apathy and anxiety swelling together inside of you at the same time. I'm still very happy with the heart and attention to detail they put into that game. Edit. I just want to add that I received care over a year ago, and it has absolutely changed my life in ways I never thought possible. If you're experiencing anything of the sort, I'd highly recommend talking to a professional. It could be one of the best decisions you ever make for yourself. The stairs and putting your foot down thinking there's one more step at the top than there actually is. I did this on my porch step coming down and put my entire body weight down on my right foot and instantly shattered it in 6 places. Shut the fuck. That hurt. No going back. When I was a freshman in college, I was wandering around talking to my girlfriend on the phone and I stepped up on a little curb about ankle high and hopped off the other side of it without looking. The other side of it was about an 8-foot drop onto concrete. I gasped and felt like I was falling for minutes, and somehow stuck the landing in a way that didn't end up with me hurt. Didn't even drop the phone. My feet were a bit sore and that was it. For the rest of my time in college, I looked at that spot in amazement like I should have been crippled from that moment. I was on Washington Street and walking north at the big wall next to Barringer. For anyone who's familiar with Virginia Tech, LMRO, you hopped off that and landed it. Hogokies. Hot. You can't explain it to a child. They have to experience it to understand. I remember vividly age 4 my mom telling me the iron was hot. I also remember vividly pressing my hand to it. Lesson learned. I told my 5-year-old nephew to not touch the stovetop even after the flame is gone because it's still hot. He didn't believe me and touched it as soon as my back was turned. He regretted it. I remember reading somewhere how we need these experiences to keep ourselves safe in the future and learn our limits. The article described how making playgrounds safer actually harmed this development of our children. It's been a long time since I read it and I'm sure I'm missing key details, but hopefully I've expressed the gist of it. Edit. I think I now know what people mean when they say, RIP my inbox. Definitely agree with this. I've shared this in the past, but my dad had trouble keeping me from crawling off the bed when he was playing with me, so after repeatedly stopping me before I fell off, he decided to lay down next to the bed on the floor and let me fall and catch me, and that's what it took for me to stop trying. OFC, this was while my mom wasn't in the same room cause she was very much into overprotection. We did something similar with our boy in the sliding door. He jammed his fingers the once and now always keeps them clear. We knew he wouldn't hurt himself badly because he can't shut it hard enough, so we let physics do the education. Natural consequences, like when they fight about wearing a coat or shoes to go out in the garden. Sometimes it's worth letting them learn directly why those things are necessary, if you have the energy to bring them back in and get them sorted out after. I'm going to say the realization of your own mortality. It's always an obscure concept that always seems so far away until in one terrifying moment it becomes a crystal clear fact of reality. I've been terrified and abundantly aware of death from an early age. I didn't have any early experiences with death, but I do remember not being able to sleep at night because I was afraid. Imagine a 3-year-old screaming that they don't want to die every night before bedtime. My poor mum. Even now not much has changed. This intrusive thought pops into my head just as I'm about to fall asleep every night. Edit. My highest rated comment and Reddit gold. Way to make a girl feel a lot better about life and death. This has been a very wholesome experience and I'm very happy with all of you lovely internet strangers, thanks. This is the closest I've seen my specific type of panic attack explained by someone else. I can link it to a very early age like you described, but its current form started about 15 years ago when I was early 20s. Most others talk about panic attacks as thinking they're dying or having a heart attack at that moment. Not me. Mine is that I will eventually die and we're all really alone in the world, universe, and all the stuff we do all day, surviving and living our lives, is a distraction from those aforementioned truths staring us down as we head closer to them. Like you, it's at night. The aggressively intrusive thoughts come and most times I can shake them off. When I can't, it can turn into I'm going to shit my guts out terror. Heart racing, trying not to wake up my husband for comfort. Usually TV helps. Dumb cartoons or cooking shows are more inane the better. I know it's all a distraction and my fears don't go away, but I do need to be distracted to function at it. Thanks to all the kind strangers that responded and could relate. To those with concern about my well-being, I want to clarify I feel completely normal and peaceful outside of the isolated attacks. The intrusive nighttime thoughts, although regular, rarely turn into those full-blown terror attacks I described, maybe 3 to 4 times a year. When I said I need to be distracted to function, I just meant in that moment to help me calm down and sleep. Once I get to sleep and wake up to a new day, nothing interferes with my day-to-day life. If someone does experience panic or anxiety attacks that interfere with their day-to-day life, then I would agree they should seek professional help and consider treatments like medicine or other options. This is how I feel like 85% of the time. It's like everything else feels unimportant because I'm going to fucking die, and it seems like an emergency, but there's nothing I can do about it, so I just panic. It creeps in out of nowhere talking to my sister, and in my head a totally different conversation will begin. Which one of us will stare down at the other in a coffin? I'll probably go first. I'm older. I wonder how long I have left. Maybe a good 30 years barring an unforeseen event. Man, 30 years is like blinking your eyes. Soon I will be nothing. Then ponder the concept of oblivion in my head while trying to act normal and plan a family dinner with sister. It's just an endless cycle of these thoughts that intrude on everything.